All right. Hello, everybody. How's it going? You've probably heard about this. You've probably seen from the title that Bernie Sanders draws criticism for touting Joe Rogan endorsement. Because let's be real, the left is eating itself. So let's. It started really with I guess this clip. They were asking Joe who was going to endorse. He's had Bernie on his show. He's had Andrew Yang on his show. He's had Tulsi Gabbard on his show. Now we'll just play this. I'll show you what he says.
Who are you going to vote for in the primary?
I think I'll probably vote for Bernie. Him as a human being, when I was hanging out with him, and
Yeah.
I believe in him. I like him. I like him a lot. What Bernie stands for is a guy who, well, look, you could dig up dirt on every single human being that's ever existed if you catch them in their worst moment and you magnify those moments and you cut out everything else and you only display those worst moments. That said, you can't find very many with Bernie. He's been insanely consistent his entire life. He's basically been saying the same thing, been for the same thing his whole life. And that, in and of itself, is a very powerful structure to operate from.
You know, because waiting in bread lines is a good thing. I can't, especially this whole election cycle. Like, everybody on the left is like crazy nut jobs. But no, I don't like any of the Democrats at all this time around, or last time, or the time before that, or the time before that. So we'll get into this. So their biggest thing is like, they're like, oh, we're fine with Joe Rogan endorsing you, but you endorsing Joe Rogan endorsing you is terrible. It's like Bernie Sanders is facing a backlash from some Democrats after his campaign trumpeted an endorsement from comedian Joe Rogan, a popular podcast and YouTube talk show host with a history of making racist, homophobic, and transphobic comments. Oh, somebody said something. Oh. If you haven't seen any of my other stuff, I'm like super free speech. Honestly, don't just be rude to somebody, but you don't get to tell somebody what they can say, especially when it comes to the art, like comedy. The Sanders campaign touted the endorsement in a tweet on Thursday afternoon featuring a clip of Rogan's supportive remarks. We just went through that. Rogan, a libertarian-leaning broadcaster. How are you libertarian-leaning? Either it is. Usually you are or you aren't. I mean, you can be left-leaning and right-leaning. With the public persona in the mold of Howard Stern is a divisive figure. To who? He's like one of the most chilled, laid-back guys that talk about weed and like DMT. He said the N-word. Oh, you could never do that. Ever, ever, ever. On a show, and in 2013 questioned, using offensive language, whether a transgender MMA fighter should be able to compete against other women. Oh, you mean that dude that joined women MMA and crushed that woman's skull? That dude that beat that woman up? Jesus Christ. If you want to be a woman in the bedroom and, you want to play house and all that other shit, and you feel like your body is really a woman's body trapped inside a man's frame, and so you got an operation, that's all good in the hood, Rogan said, but you can't fight chicks. The decision to highlight Rogan's support has divided opinion among Democrats and activists, particularly online. It's like some of this gossip kind of news crap. A lot of it's kind of online Twitter stuff now. Where am I at? Sanders' strategic targeting of young, unaffiliated, and working-class voters often takes him to places and other platforms like Twitch. The most Democratic candidates rarely venture. But that practice, when it brings a figure like Rogan into the political spotlight, also carries the risk of alienating parts of the liberal base that, especially in the Trump area, has become increasingly cautious about the company it keeps and what that signals to marginalized communities. I mean, if you paid attention to any of this, like the left is eating the left, especially over the last couple of years during the Trump administration. Like, you can't be progressive enough. And here's another issue that comes up too is like, I don't know if these people are naive or they're young or they don't know. Like, you're never going to meet somebody in your entire life that's going to have the exact same views on everything as you do. If you think you do, you don't. You just don't know them that well. It's like this gullibility, this naivety of these people. I don't know if they're like in their echo chambers or in their bubbles, or they like. I've brought in other videos too. Like maybe they lived in this progressive metropolitan area their whole entire life, and like they don't know about the rest of the country or other countries in the world. Yeah, I don't like it. On Saturday, the progressive group called MoveOn called on Sanders to apologize and stop elevating this endorsement. It's one thing for Joe Rogan to endorse a candidate, MoveOn said in a tweet from his official account. It's another for Bernie Sanders campaign to produce a video bolstering the endorsement of someone known for promoting transphobia, homophobia, Islamophobia, racism, and misogyny. And that's their little tweet here. I kind of want to go into some of these too because some of this is funny. Or not on this one, on the other one. On that one right here, like, where is it at? Joe Rogan regularly gives a platform to hateful people like Milo Yiannopoulos, Alex Jones, James Damore, and Steven Crowder. His right-leaning comedian, a scientist at work at Google, and they fired him for the papers that he wrote that showed actual, scientific research and trying to get more women in the STEM field. And like 6 months, year and a half later, they came out saying the exact same thing. Because I remember James Damore putting things like, did Google just say what they said? Alex Jones is like entertainment. I mean, it's InfoWars and stuff. Then Milo is like a gay guy that married a black guy, but he's hateful. I think he called one of the SNL cast, or compared her, like he made fun of one of the SNL people. He did this. If you're a man and you call yourself a feminist, I hope you choke to death on vegan pizza while crying over Lady Gaga's song. Yeah. People don't understand. Okay, it seems to be certain people don't understand that he is a comedian. And then also there's like all these people trying to relate speech. They're trying to make speech violence. They're trying to like make these hate speech laws and all this stuff too. I'm getting like way off subject. But I think it's hilarious too because a lot of these people are like anti-Trump. Trump shouldn't be here. Get him out. And they like they want to like start making these hate speech laws for like protected classes and stuff. But I don't know if they don't seem to realize that if these like hate speech laws were put in place, they can easily be put into like where if you were to, I may make another video about this too, but like they're trying to do that in Virginia, that if you criticize or coerce or threaten like government officials like online, like if you make fun of somebody online, a government official, you can be jailed or fined for it. So all these people saying they want to be protected from like certain speech, in turn could get, jail time for making fun of Trump. Some other stuff here. Yeah, this is just more the left eating the left. Less than an hour later, former Vice President Joe Biden appeared to enter the fray. Let's be clear. Transgender equality is a civil rights issue of our time. There is no room for compromise when it comes to basic human rights. We got that over here. Yeah, and this guy, Mike Cernovich, brings up, like, Obama and you oppose gay marriage. Like, I don't know if people realize, like, Trump is the first president going in to support gay marriage. Like, Obama was against it going in. Blair White saying, I bet you don't even know what a transgender is. Joe Biden seriously seems like he's like getting Alzheimer's or dementia. Because he also said, I think one of his quotes was like, poor people can be just as good as, what is it? Poor kids. Poor kids can be just as bright as white kids. So he's synonymous with like poor kids as being black kids. Like none of these candidates on the left are like good in any way, in any form. In my humble opinion. In a statement Friday afternoon, Sanders' National Press Secretary Brianna Jo Gray distanced the campaign from Rogan's view, but argued that sharing a big tent meant keeping it open to people with whom they disagreed. Because their big thing is Joe is like, oh, he's talked to these people that we don't agree with. How can you do that? That's another thing, too, that Joe is saying stuff they don't like, and they're talking to, and he talks to people that they don't like or agree with. It's the left's bubble is continuously getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and you can't be progressive enough. The goal of our campaign is to build a multiracial, multi-generational movement that is large enough to defeat Donald Trump and the powerful special interests whose greed and corruption is the root cause of the outrageous inequality in America. That is, I guess not, because that's fucking insane. Greed and corruption. This is the whole eat the rich fucking bullshit. Like they want to say that, I've heard them say that like 90% of wealth is inherited or some shit like that. No, especially if you or somebody that happens to listen to, why am I going blank now? Why am I going blank? If you happen to listen to Dave Ramsey, he either did it or he hired a team and he did like the biggest study of millionaires in North America over like the last, he did like a studies like over the last 10 years, I believe they put it together. And I think it was like a small percentage is inherited. Most people accrue their wealth working over years. And here's another thing they don't seem to understand too. I'm going on like all these tangents, but like they say like Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates, like they have billions of dollars. Like they think that he has like $1 billion like in cash sitting in the bank. They don't understand how like net worth is put together, especially with him. Like him owning that business, like most of his net worth, his wealth is like tied up in it is that business. Like getting back to the millionaires thing, I think it's like it's close to, I want to say it's like 80% have like inherit like nothing. I think there's like another 10% that inherit some. So there's like 10 or 12% like at the end that has like a sizable inheritance that help them. But most of them like net worth through owning a home and their 401k accrue wealth over time. And people say that teachers don't earn enough, but also teachers are in the top 5 of professions that are like millionaires. I think it's teachers, there's lawyers, there's engineers, I think there's accountants, and there's something else. I think doctors, like medical professionals, like aren't even in the top 5. I believe they're in the top 10, but they're talking about they spend like crazy because they make so much. So it's just, it's been bugging me. It's a tangent. Sharing a big tent requires including those who do not share every one of our beliefs while always making clear that we will never compromise our values. The truth is that by standing together in solidarity, we share the values of love and respect that will move us in the direction of a more humane, more equal world. Shortly after the campaign responded to the criticism, Human Rights Campaign President Alfonso David praised Sanders for running a campaign that has been unabashedly supportive of the rights of LGBTQ people, but called on Vermont Senator to consider rejecting the endorsement in light of Rogan's vicious rhetoric. We should always be willing to educate individuals who operate from a place of bias, but we should not directly or indirectly validate or celebrate them, David said. Given Rogan's comments, it is disappointing that Sanders' campaign has accepted and promoted the endorsement. Joe Rogan has like one of the, if not the biggest, like podcasts of, I don't know, of all time, but like he's had, I want to say he has like over 1,100 episodes, and he's done it for like over 10 years now. The Sanders campaign must consider the endorsement and the decision to publicize the views of someone who's continuously attacked and dehumanized marginalized people. They're mad because of what he said and the idea of the, the male to female transitioning athletes. Because if you spend 20, 30 years, he gets into this too, I've heard him talk about, if you spend 20, 30 years like as a male, you have, even if you transition to a female, even if you do like hormone replacements, you still have all those years going through puberty, having like the denser muscles, like the denser bones, the stronger muscles. Even if they're weakened, even if they're weakened, they're still stronger than females. And also with the, this is getting off point too, like female hips are wider too for, childbirth. So men are able to run faster because they don't have like this kind of, it's less of an angle. Bernie is not my candidate, but it seems obvious to me that he was right to take Joe Rogan's endorsement, Goldberg tweeted. One premise of his campaign is that we can win some number of alienated men with reactionary social views to the left, and this is proof of concept. He's saying that I guess Sanders had one from Cenk Uygur, and he rescinded that because Uygur made something about women. He goes into the Joe Rogan Experience routinely ranks among the most listened to podcasts in the U.S. and attracts an audience outside of liberal mainstream, a population that Sanders has sought to reach as part of his broader effort to expand the electorate in 2020. Rogan has interviewed Sanders, Andrew Yang, and Tulsi Gabbard during the run-up to the 2020 primary. Yang's campaign manager, in an interview with the Daily Beast last year, described the candidate's February 2019 appearance on Rogan Show, which currently has nearly 5 million views on YouTube, as a pivotal early moment in the businessman's unlikely rise. Sanders, on the campaign trails, has repeatedly denounced President Donald Trump as a racist, a homophobe, a sexist, and a xenophobe, and criticized Trump for dividing people up based on their sexual orientation, religion, and gender. How? Because they want to say he wants to build a wall. Oh, that makes him racist. No, it's about keeping illegal... I have to go. So it's about keeping illegal immigrants out. There was one day they had like 40 different nationalities try to come through the southern border. People from Africa. Also keep out, drug cartels, MS-13, all that stuff. Also, I believe Judge Joe Brown. I've seen him recently talking about Trump. I want to say it's Jesse Jackson's campaign back in '88. He was like one of the financiers to that. He was talking about he's dated like this one African American supermodel or whatever. A homophobe, like I said, he's the only president going into office supporting gay marriage. A sexist and a xenophobe. I mean, people say grab people by the pussy, and that's locker room talk. I mean, if you're a man, you say shit. There's nothing around it. Then there's these men, these like male feminists, are like, oh no, like. Also, a lot of these male feminists are also sexual predators too. They're like this kind of like, I'm getting way off topic. This like beta male thing where they're trying to get laid by agreeing with women. But when it goes to this, this is linked to Sanders' campaign slogan for 2020, "Not me, us." Elaborating on what he means by this, at his first Iowa rally, Sanders on Thursday said that no one person can take on the most powerful, wealthy people in the country. Keep in mind, he is a multimillionaire. He's one of the wealthy people in the country. But guess what? Yeah. The only way we transform America is when millions of people together stand up and fight back. Fight back for what? Comparatively, back in July 2016, as Trump accepted the Republican nomination for president in Cleveland, Ohio, he declared, "I have joined the political arena so that the powerful can no longer beat up on people that cannot defend themselves. Nobody knows the system better than me, which is why I alone can fix it." And he's done quite a bit in 3 years. I mean, the whole ordeal with like North Korea and actually meeting with them. I mean, they've been trying to do that for years, and that hasn't happened. He's recently implemented like the first phase and the deal with China. He's got rid of the NAFTA. Then was the new deal. I can't remember the name of it, but they re-implemented the new like North American deal. While other 2020 Democratic candidates also publicly criticized the president, the whatever that word is, that is what is that?
Septuagenarian.
Yeah, that thing. From Vermont has made denouncing Trump a central aspect of his campaign rhetoric as he continues to push for progressive platform. That's the whole Democratic thing now, is like open borders, health care for all, we'll pay off your student loans. This is, yeah. And, who can forget Orange Man Bad? The day after Sanders announced his running for president again last month, he tweeted, "We have a president who is racist, sexist, xenophobe, and a fraud. We're going to bring together people and not only defeat Trump, but transform the economic and political life of this country." The economic life of this country is doing better than it has. I think unemployment's the lowest it's been in 50 years. African-American unemployment's the lowest it's ever been. The Dow and the stock market reached record highs. So I would rather not the economy get changed. Most Americans don't want communism, Marxism, socialism, democratic socialism, national socialism, democratic socialism. If you know what national socialism is. Or, take your guns away, force what you can or can't say. Granted, Twitter is an echo chamber in itself. But the fact that some people are saying this is, they seem to be real people, so it's kind of insane. Transphobic misogynist into your campaign. I don't know. I'm getting kind of tired of trying to say all this stuff. It's there are the left is getting fractured into certain things. Also, certain parts of the right, kind of on the edges, they're getting fractured as well. Rogan, during an episode earlier this month, claimed that representatives from other Democratic presidential campaigns have pushed for their candidates to be invited in for an interview. They all keep asking to be on my show, Rogan said, and have requests from Joe, Elizabeth, Buttigieg. Spokesperson for Biden said it's denied that. Warren's campaign didn't know, and Buttigieg's campaign didn't respond. So, some people are saying just take the endorsement. Other people saying he says things that we don't like, so we can't take it. And I've said throughout this whole thing, you're not going to find somebody that believes exactly what you say. Like with Trump, I don't like that he made an executive order to ban bump stocks, and they're working on silencers now. But a lot of stuff he does good, in my opinion. But I know people don't like that, so whatever. This may have been quite a long one. I went on a good bit of tangents, but I don't know. I kind of want to start doing more of these. I think if a little story piques my interest and it's something I want to look into and talk about, I will. Other videos I've been talking about. If you made it this far, I've been trying to. I hit like 200 subscribers, which is great. I'm trying to get to 1,000. You know, trying to get more and more and more and more. That'd be nice. So if you like this, you can give me a like. Really liked it, you can subscribe. If you dislike it, you can do one of these and tell me why. But all right, peace.